that no longer it's just, okay, I work and I get my paycheck and I stick it in the bank and maybe I have enough money to like put in a 401k. And then it's just like, okay, that's the best I can hope for. There's such a range of opportunities that previously have only been exposed to the very, 1% of a 1%, of Americans. And now it's, much broader across, both America and the world, really, in terms of understanding and adoption.
Thank you to my sponsor, Cake Wallet, where you can store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero safely on your iOS and Android devices. MetalPay, how banking was meant to be. Everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Girl Gone Crypto. I am so excited to have Uphold here on the channel. So today I've got Robin O'Connell, the CRO of Uphold. So Robin, thanks so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I would imagine most of you watching this have used Uphold or run across it in some way. But just to kick off, for those watching that maybe aren't familiar, Robin, can you give us just a high-level overview of what Uphold is?
Sure, absolutely. So Uphold is a global digital wallet. And so what it allows you to do, we have, I think, 3.5 million users across 180 different countries. But I understand most of your audience is here in the US, which we do have a large portion of our user base. You can load funds into Uphold. You can then convert them into pretty much any other digital assets. So, we have different asset classes. You can go from, USD to another fiat currency like GBP. We support 30 different fiat currencies. You can move directly into another cryptocurrency. Support 30 plus cryptocurrencies, stable coins, utility tokens, etc. We also support commodities. So another big thing today is a lot of people are taking their funds and investing in gold and holding their funds in gold. And so we provide for that. And then in certain jurisdictions, not yet the US, we support fractional equities. So really the basic concept is that one day everybody across the globe will be able to, store all of their value in digital assets, whether it be fiat currency, cryptocurrency, commodities, soon real estate, what have you. You could store it, in one account, access it through your mobile device, send it anywhere in the world for next to nothing. And you can convert it instantly from anything to anything. So that's actually a really key part of what Uphold is this platform that we've created that allows you to go from one thing into any other thing. And if you've experienced, just go to uphold.com and there's a little widget that you can play around with, but it can show you how you can go from, dollars into, well, that's not so interesting. How about Bitcoin into Tesla stock in one move? Can't do that really anywhere else. So it's kind of a unique platform in that way. Normally, obviously, you have to go, Bitcoin into dollars, maybe then, exit those dollars into a bank and then sort of re-engage with another service where you're then going from, and it takes days and it takes time and it's more expensive. Our concept is you can go from anything to anything.
No, I love that, because even in that example, if they were in an altcoin, they might have to move it into Bitcoin,
exactly.
So there's so many steps.
Yeah, exactly. There's the notion, even in, typical crypto trading, there's the notion of pairs, right? Oh, to access this, I need to first buy this in order to get that. And for us, it's just one to the other instantly too. That's the other thing is it's you literally just plug it in. It's dead simple. And, it shows you the quote, you go for it and then it's done versus, a more of an exchange experience is you put it in order and then you wait and then you see what happens later on.
Now, I imagine that would create an environment that really kind of encouraged arbitrage between different asset classes and stocks and things. Is that something that you see a lot of happening on the site where people can easily be like, oh, Tesla stock is going up or Bitcoin's going down, and they're kind of moving their assets around to take advantage of the different markets?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that part of it is providing, ease of use.
Hmm.
Part of it is just providing sort of accessibility. So in certain markets, the idea of buying Tesla stock, period, is, forget about it. We kind of take that for granted in the US, but
Right.
if you're Latin America, only a select few can do that, and it's tricky. So part of it is that, and then yeah, absolutely, it's about giving the consumer choice. It's no longer, just sort of your father, your grandfather's, brokerage account with, you see those commercials where, got this old stodgy broker. Well, lots of companies are really riding that wave. Robinhood comes to mind,
Right.
really reinventing, how people experience the money. And we're, we believe we're at the forefront with this anything to anything setup.
Now, one thing I'm curious about is when it comes to being able to open the door for people in other countries to buy US based stocks. I mean,
Mhm.
that seems like that would be a huge advantage. And is that something you're saying you guys are able to offer? So let's say if I lived in Argentina, I wouldn't
That's
normally
exactly
be
right.
able to. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's exactly right. So it's accessibility, and I guess it's the fundamental mission of, why can't we? Why
Mm,
can't somebody be able to access, experience these different investment opportunities, if that's what it is, or even in places like Argentina, it's being able to hold something that isn't as volatile
right.
or is devaluing as potentially their current home currency. So we see that a lot. We have freelancers, let's say, in places like Argentina, that are receiving funds for, let's say, doing freelancing work from a company in the US, and they're using Uphold to send them funds. And then rather than converting it into, the Argentine peso, where it's
Right.
going to start maybe devaluing or even potentially getting stuck in your bank, it's
Right.
giving you, the access to really hold it in secure way where it's protecting the value of, your hard-earned money that you just received, and it's giving them choice. So,
Right.
the idea that they could, potentially, dollars have been used as sort of a more stable currency globally for years, but the
Right.
idea that they could then even participate in some of the potential upside of a U.S. equity is a new thing.
So you'd mentioned commodities earlier, and that's one thing that I'm curious just to get the pulse from you on how you've seen that kind of evolve over the last 6-8 months that we've been in this financial and economic crisis, if you will, of all of this quantitative easing and money printing. And it seems to me that people are becoming more aware of inflation and money printing and the impact it can have on the economy, and have been wanting to move into harder, more sound money, things like gold, things like Bitcoin. From your perspective at this high level of seeing all of these transactions, what has been that kind of shift? Have you seen a big shift towards commodities in the last, 6-8 months, or what has that been looking like?
We have. I mean, we've actually, even from early days, Uphold has been around since I think 2013.
Yeah.
So we've been around a while, but and even from the get-go, we had that ability for somebody to purchase gold, silver, as an example. But what we've done recently is we're part of this Universal Protocol Alliance, which basically takes values and then wraps it in Ethereum. And so you
Mm.
have what we now have is a UPXAU, and it's a real value uh, of gold,
Okay.
but now it's wrapped within Ethereum. So it allows you to now move it off of Uphold, and you can go and and actually it's going to be listed in multiple places. So it's just, and it may actually already be listed in multiple places, but we list it. And the idea is that you could then even participate in DeFi, and you can
Hmm.
now have a UPXAU, where you're actually trading, holding, buying, selling gold, but you can do it through, a DeFi exchange,
Okay, I'm glad you brought up
which is
DeFi.
totally new, which is not something. I mean, in the past, it's been like, okay, I can own gold, but to your point, it
Right.
was maybe a rarer experience. I really do agree with you that, and it's cool too, right? As there's been more innovation in fintech, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's provided more education to a broader range of folks in terms of all of the opportunities, that no longer it's just, okay, I work and I get my paycheck and I stick it in my bank
Right.
and maybe I have enough money to like put in a 401k. And then it's just like, okay, that's the best I can hope for. There's
Mm.
such a range of opportunities that previously have only been exposed to the very, 1% of a 1%, of Americans. And now it's,
Mm-hmm.
much broader across, both America and the world, really, in terms of understanding and adoption.
No, I think that's so important and such a big point to bring up. And that's what's so cool about what you guys are building, in my opinion, is it's opening those doors and making that ease of use, because I think intimidation when it comes to investing is a real thing. A lot of people are scared and nervous. They're not sure what to buy, how to do it. And when you can kind of have a one-stop shop to move through all these different asset classes and try things out, that's pretty powerful. And so one of the things that I wanted to kind of like pivot and talk about, and you just mentioned DeFi a moment ago, is, obviously this is the big thing in the world of crypto right now. And you guys do offer returns on crypto. And so I'm hoping that you can just kind of walk us through that process, and that piece of things.
Sure.
But also just kind of your thoughts on Cefi versus DeFi and how Uphold has been kind of plugging into those systems.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's room for both, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing that, and at the end of the day, there's where we live is we want to make it really easy for people to be able to take money from where maybe it currently resides, potentially in your bank account, right? Or on a e-wallet, and then you have a debit card, but make the onboarding, offboarding from wherever you have your money to Uphold really easy. And I think that is one of the bigger challenges, is how do you link, or what's the bridge between, this really exciting new world of DeFi and
Right.
crypto, and like where your money is today. And I think that's been a problem for a long time. And so we've really worked hard on making that happen. And to make that happen, it's a lot of maybe not so much fun work, where you're getting the
Right.
licenses, you're building the connections to the banks, you're building up like the fraud and the compliance programs, and that's all the stuff that we do and we've built up over the years. And so I'd say to your question about how do those two things interact, we would love to be the bridge that makes it easy
Mm.
for somebody to get going and get into DeFi. And that's why we're a little bit different than some offerings, where there's some offerings that allow you to, let's say, move your money from your bank into a wallet and allow you to buy let's say even Bitcoin, but you can't then, they're not connected to the blockchain rails, so it's sort of like stuck there. You can
Right.
experience the ups and downs of it and the potential increases in value, but that's it. Whereas we've always from the get-go built in, and we don't have them across the board, we're constantly adding more and more, but we have I think 10 plus different support 10 plus different crypto blockchains for in and out. So you could literally just use us as a way to onboard funds, participate in DeFi, bring it back, convert back. And again, from this notion of anything to anything. I think that was one of your questions. And then I think the one prior to that was specifically the notion of earning interest. We
Mm-hmm.
partner with a company called Cred. This
Mm.
is another unique aspect of Uphold, is that we don't try to do everything, right? So
Right.
we have this core infrastructure that's keeping us really busy, allowing you to go from anything to anything. But in the case of earning your interest on your holdings, we partner with a company called Cred, and that's their core competency. But what
Mm.
we've done is we have this open API infrastructure, and so the experience is, hey, I can take my Uphold wallet and I can attach it to this Cred application, and then and I'm doing that because I want to earn interest on it, and we make that user experience, the flow of your funds between Uphold and Cred, really seamless. And we do that with other things as well. So, we make your crypto taxes easier by linking into a number of different tax companies and, clicking a button and then basically being able to pull your transactional data so that you can, put it in a nice form to give to your to do your taxes. So we have what we've built up essentially is almost an app center for our wallet. So you can say, all right, I love all the cool stuff I can do within Uphold. And, believe me, we're busy trying to create more and more features and so forth. The debit card, which we should probably talk about as an example. But, we also, realize we can't be, everything to everybody, especially when you're global, because when you're global, how are we possibly going to, get the right licenses in Zimbabwe? Well, believe it or not, we have a partner in Zimbabwe that has the right licenses. You can now move your money from Uphold, if you so chose, to, our licensed partner in Zimbabwe to get cash out. So those are the types of elements that we're working on. And Cred is a great example where, you can, earn interest on just, holding your funds.
So you kind of touched on regulations a little bit here and there. And so that's one thing I'm curious about. Are you guys operational in all 50 states? What has that process been, has it looked like to kind of add additional countries? Because every country, every state has its own layers of legalese to work through, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, we operate in all 50 states. We're still trudging away at getting our New York bit license, which just sounds like a broken record, but believe me, we're trying to move as fast as we can on that, and it's imminent. We'll get it, and then we're also licensed in the EU. So, and really what that means or what that gets us, besides, obviously the regulatory coverage, but it gets you the connectivity into the banks. Right. You have to have that in order, you have to be regulated in order to, so you can't be some, random startup says, hey, I got a wallet. And then you can't just call up a merchant processor and say, hey, I want, somebody to just, put their money in from their bank account. They'll say, okay, great. Show us your licenses, show us your compliance, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people don't necessarily realize that there's all those, inner workings happening behind the scenes. In terms of expansion, yeah, I mean, it's almost on a case by case basis. There's some countries that have, more stringent laws where you're basically required to go and maybe even in some cases set up shop, have a person there, et cetera, et cetera. Others, there are ways to operate through partnerships, which is my preference. Right. And so more to come. Latin America is a big focus for us. So we're working on enabling more onboarding, offboarding from your bank in Latin America. And today, if you have a Visa, MasterCard, basically anywhere in the world, you can load funds into Uphold that way.
So speaking of Visa, MasterCard, speaking of debit cards, that's a huge topic right now in the crypto industry as people are starting to look for easier ways to actually spend and use their crypto kind of in their everyday lives. And so you guys do offer a crypto debit card. Can you kind of tell us a little more about that?
Absolutely. It's really cool. It's we've been working on this for a long, long time. It actually launched earlier this year. We were in pilot, I think, in the beginning of the year, and then we fully launched it. So anybody in the US can basically sign up and get one of these cards. And what's cool about it is with Uphold, think about, you have an e-wallet, but then you have the ability to store all of your value across, all of those different fiat currencies, cryptocurrency, commodities that I mentioned. So you can imagine you almost have like endless sub accounts. And I probably take, advantage of at least 20 of the different sub accounts. So I see my total balance, but it's all, distributed across multiple cryptocurrencies, fiat currencies, commodities, et cetera. And then how our card works is you literally, there's an app and you literally can choose on the fly where you want the money coming from. So, and that's a little bit different from how some of these other crypto cards work. The other crypto cards are almost like a prepaid situation where it's like, oh, I'm going to move my funds maybe from
Right.
Bitcoin into something else in order to spend it. Well, not with us. With us,
Mhm.
you just toggle to where you want it to come from, and then assuming there's balance in there, you literally go and you can get a cup of coffee and you swipe it, and it just all happens automatically. And this is really powerful, I think, in the crypto world. You may or may not know this, but we're sort of the wallet behind the scenes with the Brave browser and the basic attention token.
Yeah.
So, and I can talk about that if you if you have time.
Sure. Yeah.
But basically, if it's a browser and it's privacy related, and they serve up ads, if you agree to see the ads, you can earn basic attention token, which is one
Hmm.
of the top utility tokens. And then when they do a payout, you can choose to take it in BAT, or you can choose to take it in dollars or whatever. But people love the fact that it all kind of happens automatically. You're
Right.
viewing the ads because you're on the internet anyways. You receive the basic attention token. It automatically goes into your Uphold account, and then without even having to really do anything, I can go and swipe my card and buy lunch or what have you, and then it just pulls directly. So it's almost this oh my gosh type of experience that you feel like maybe like the first time you went and rode an Uber or something.
Right. So, what does that Uphold and Brave relationship look like? I didn't quite catch the connection there.
Oh, sure. So first of all, have you heard of Brave?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So when you have the Brave browser, you basically can opt in to view ads as an
Hmm.
end user, and I think they've got like I think I just saw statistically they have like 20 million monthly active users. So it's getting bigger
Yeah.
and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I do it. I use it. And why do I use it? Not just to earn them because they're a partner of ours, but also it makes the internet run a little bit faster because it's
Mm.
blocking all the junky adware.
True.
And then I get to choose, whether I want to view ads or not. I opt to view the ads. And what happens is, in order to receive the payouts for those ads, I have to first get an Uphold account
Oh, got it.
where I
Okay.
go through
Yeah.
my KYC and so forth.
Hmm.
Because the moment that they release it to the user, it's like money. And so it's regulated, and we're
Hmm.
regulated. And so,
Yep.
and then it's giving the end user choice. They can just receive it in basic attention token, um, and which a lot of folks do, or they can, depending on where they live, they could convert it into their local currency. So they could go in the US, they would just put it in their bank account, or they just hold it within Uphold and then spend it with their debit card.
Does that all happen within the browser, like the Brave browser interface, or does that
Mhm.
move over to the Uphold app? Okay, got it.
Well, it initially happens within the Brave browser interface where you can kind of see a Brave
Yep.
wallet. And then in there, that's where they prompt you to connect your Brave wallet to your Uphold
Got
account. If
it.
you don't have an Uphold account, you get one, and it's back to that notion that I was explaining about these apps where you can connect your Uphold wallet to really any app. In a sense, Brave is an app to us, right? So you can connect your Uphold account to Brave, and why are you doing that? In order to receive payments, and then to spend it, or to put it in your bank account or what have you, convert it to something else.
Well, Robin, this has been awesome to have you on the show and just get to really dive into everything that Uphold is doing and has been building for a long time. Like you said, has been around since 2013 and just has really continued to innovate and build cool and new tools. And so, Robin, if someone wants to go and check out Uphold and maybe start using the platform, where should they go next?
That's easy. Uphold.com.
Yep.
uphold.com. And as I said, there's even a little widget on the side, if just to play around with it, so you can experience, what it will be like when you sign up. But the sign up process is basically pretty easy. And then once you sign up, you'll want to move money in there so you can start to convert it into other things, and or spend it with the debit card.
Awesome. Well, Robin, thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you very much.